You wake up thinking you have all the time in the world. The days stretch ahead, full of promise and potential. You tell yourself, I'll do that tomorrow, or next year, or when I'm older. You wait for the perfect time. But here's the truth, there is no perfect time. I'm Lorraine, and I'm 92 years old. I live in a small house in the quiet suburbs of Raleigh, North Carolina. I've seen a lot in my time: wars, heartache, the joy of raising children, and the pain of loss. But the one thing I didn't understand until it was too late was how quickly time slips away. When I was younger, I thought life moved slowly, that there would always be more time for everything. But now, as I look back on my life, I realize that I spent so much time waiting for the right moment that I missed out on the moments that truly mattered. At 92, I see time differently. It doesn't stretch out in front of you. It moves like a river, flowing faster than you can keep up with. I spent years working, raising my family, and worrying about things that now seem insignificant. I thought I had plenty of time to travel, to enjoy life, to tell the people I loved how much they meant to me. But the truth is, I don't have forever. None of us do. And I'm telling you this, because if you're in your 50s or 60s, you still have time, but not as much as you think. I'm not here to scare you. I'm here to wake you up before it's too late. Because once that time is gone, you can't get it back. Let me share my story with you, so you don't make the same mistakes I did. When I was in my 60s, I thought I was invincible. I could walk for miles, carry heavy bags without breaking a sweat, and keep up with my grandchildren without even thinking about it. I took my body for granted, as many of us do. I thought I had decades left to enjoy the things I loved, to stay active, and to live life to the fullest. But now, at 92, I know the painful truth: your body is borrowed, and it will eventually betray you. I look back at those years and realize how little I cared for my body. I didn't build strength, I didn't stretch, and I didn't take care of my bones or my muscles. I didn't think I needed to, until one day I did. At 75, I couldn't walk a mile without feeling exhausted. By 80, climbing stairs became a daunting task. By 84, I had a stroke, and just like that, the body I had relied on for so long failed me. I was no longer independent. I had to rely on others for things I had always taken for granted. Here's the thing no one tells you about aging: you don't notice the decline until it's too late. It doesn't happen all at once. It happens slowly, little by little, until one day you realize your body can't do the things it used to. The muscle you lose after 60 is almost impossible to regain. The bone density you lose is gone forever. And balance? Well, that's something you'll have to work at every single day. I watch my great-grandchildren run across the yard, and I remember when I could run. I remember when standing up wasn't an event, when bending down didn't leave me winded. But now, at 92, I'm often reminded of the woman I used to be. She feels like a stranger. I wish I had cared for her better. I wish I had built more strength when I had the chance. If you're in your 60s and you're still strong, build that strength now. If you can still walk without pain, walk. If you can lift groceries without a struggle, lift them. Because one day, you won't be able to. I want you to hear me loud and clear: your body won't be able to keep up with you forever. The time to take care of it is now. Every day you ignore your health is a day you're slowly losing the ability to live the way you want to. Build the strength now, while you can. Because trust me, one day, you'll be grateful you did. When you're young, life feels full of voices. The laughter of friends, the chatter over dinner, the phone calls that come regularly. But as you age, that noise starts to fade. The friends who once filled your life with stories and adventures start to disappear. One by one they're gone, and with them, the memories you shared. And suddenly, you're left with an emptiness you weren't prepared for. I'm 92 now, and I've outlived most of my closest friends. The ones I spent decades with. celebrating birthdays, supporting each other through divorces, sickness, and loss. We called ourselves the Tuesday Girls because we met every week without fail for almost 40 years. Barbara, Eileen, Margaret, and me. We laughed, cried, and grew old together. Or so I thought. Barbara passed away in 2008 from a heart attack. Eileen died in 2014 from cancer. Margaret was the last to go, passing away in 2020. I'm the only one left. And now, I sit in the quiet of my home, the phone no longer ringing with their voices, the days now devoid of our long conversations. I thought I had enough time to make more memories, to make new friends, but I didn't. It's a lonely place to be, especially when you realize that you don't just miss their company, you miss yourself in those moments. The version of you that existed when they were there. The memories of who you were before time and life started pulling people away. The person who didn't feel so alone. If I could go back, I'd tell my younger self to make new friends, to not take old friendships for granted. Because what I didn't understand back then was this: you never know how much time you have left with the people you love. Now, when I see younger people today, I see them busy, rushing through life, thinking they have plenty of time. But I've learned, perhaps too late, that friendships, true lasting friendships, are precious, and you have to make them while you can. The people you laugh with today may not be there tomorrow. And the loneliness of outliving everyone you love is a feeling I wouldn't wish on anyone. So, if you're in your 60s, or even younger, make the effort now. Reach out. Meet new people. Create a life that includes friends, because one day, you'll look around and realize that it's not the number of people in your life that matters. It's the depth of those connections. The time to build those bonds is now. And if you don't, you may find yourself alone in a silence you weren't prepared for. We all avoid the uncomfortable conversations, don't we? The ones we know we should have but keep putting off because they feel too heavy, too awkward, or just too painful. We think, I'll talk to them later, when things are calmer, when it's the right time. But let me tell you, the right time doesn't come. And when it doesn't, you're left with the consequences. As I've gotten older, I've realized how many crucial conversations I avoided. Conversations about death, about money, about what would happen when I was no longer around to make decisions. I thought I had time, that I could wait until everything was in place. But life doesn't wait for you to get everything in order, and neither does death. I remember when my mother had a stroke at 89. She could no longer speak, and she lived for 3 more years. 3 years of silence. And we had no idea what she wanted. Did she want to be kept alive on machines? What were her final wishes? What did she want done with her things? We spent those 3 years guessing, arguing, making decisions in the dark, and it was a painful experience. That's when I swore I wouldn't do that to my children. Yet, I almost did. I almost let the same thing happen. I was uncomfortable talking about death, money, my will, my final wishes. It felt like inviting death into the room. But the reality is, death is coming whether we acknowledge it or not, and if you don't have these conversations while you can, you're leaving a burden behind for the people who love you. If you're in your 60s, don't wait. Have these conversations now, while everyone is still healthy, while everyone is still able to listen and understand. Talk about where you want to be buried, what you want to happen to your possessions, what your wishes are if you're no longer able to speak for yourself. These aren't morbid topics, they're gifts you give to the people you love. I finally had these talks with my children when I was 74, and I wish I'd done it at 64. Because when you don't, your family is left to guess, and that guesswork is a burden you shouldn't leave for them. These conversations may be uncomfortable, but they will bring clarity, peace, and in the end, love. So, I urge you, don't wait until it's too late. Have these conversations now, and free your loved ones from the weight of uncertainty when you're gone. When I was in my 50s, retirement seemed like the ultimate goal. I dreamed about the day I could finally step away from work. No more meetings, no more deadlines, no more stress. I imagined a life full of leisurely mornings, travel, and quality time with family. I thought retirement would be my reward, the time to finally enjoy all the things I had put off. But when I actually retired at 70, I was hit with something unexpected. I had no idea who I was without my job. For decades, I had defined myself by my work. I was the successful professional, the one everyone could rely on. My career gave me purpose, status, and a sense of identity. But the moment I retired, that identity began to fade, and I was left with a sense of emptiness. It didn't happen all at once. At first, I enjoyed the freedom, sleeping in, running errands during the day, having no schedule. But after a few months, I started to feel adrift. I missed the routine, the feeling of being needed. I had spent my whole life working towards retirement, and now that I was there, I felt lost. I had no purpose beyond the daily chores, and it started to feel like I was merely existing, not living. If you're approaching retirement, or even if you're already retired, I want you to understand something. Retirement won't save you. It will expose you. It will expose whether you've built a life outside of work, whether you've nurtured relationships, whether you've cultivated hobbies, whether you've taken time to discover what truly makes you happy. If you've spent your entire life tied to your job, retirement may feel like a sudden fall into an abyss. I learned this the hard way. It took me years to find new passions, to develop a new sense of self outside of my career. I started painting, volunteering, and spending more time with my family. But it wasn't easy, and it didn't happen overnight. And I wonder now, if I had prepared myself for retirement earlier, if I had built a life outside of work, would the transition have been easier? Here's my advice: start now. Start building that life. Don't wait for retirement to define who you are. Work on creating a life you love that doesn't depend on your job. Develop hobbies, nurture relationships, find joy in things that have nothing to do with your career. Because when the work stops, you don't want to be left wondering, who am I now? Retirement can be the best chapter of your life, but only if you've prepared for it. When I was young, I thought love would last forever. I believed that the future would always be there, full of time to share with the people I loved. I imagined my partner and I would grow old together, take vacations, and enjoy the golden years side by side. But what I didn't understand then was that love has an expiration window. And if you don't take full advantage of the good years, you may miss the chance to truly live them together. I spent the early years of my marriage wrapped up in building a life, working hard, raising children, paying the bills. We were always so busy, and while we loved each other, we didn't take the time to truly live together. We didn't prioritize our relationship as much as we should have. I assumed we'd have decades of good health, endless adventures, and time to make up for all those years of hustle. But then, as we hit our 60s, things started to change. I began to realize that my partner's health was declining, and so was mine. The energy we once had to explore, travel, and enjoy life was slipping away. Suddenly, we were both trying to manage chronic health issues, doctor appointments, and a slower pace of life. The adventures I had put off, those spontaneous trips and fun moments, felt more out of reach than ever. The window of opportunity was closing, and I hadn't fully realized it until it was almost too late. The truth is, we always think there's more time, but the years when we are truly healthy and active are limited. Time isn't guaranteed, and the window for adventure, for shared joy, for real connection, can close faster than you realize. Once the body starts to slow down, once health becomes a concern, those golden years of exploration and enjoyment can feel like a distant dream. I regret not taking more trips, not staying out later, not saying yes to more invitations when we could. You don't get unlimited time, and once those years are gone, they're gone forever. So, if you're still in your 50s or 60s, don't wait. Don't assume you have forever. Cherish the years when you're still healthy and full of energy. Travel together, laugh together, say "I love you" more often. Because when you hit your 70s and 80s, those years of active love and adventure are no longer guaranteed. And you'll look back wishing you had taken the time when you could. Love is precious, and time is fleeting. Make the most of both before it's too late. I've spent a lot of my life holding on to grudges. Small arguments, misunderstandings, moments where I felt wronged. I thought those feelings were justified, that the people who hurt me didn't deserve my forgiveness. But now, looking back, I realize something deeply painful. Holding on to that anger only hurt me. The weight of unforgiven words, unhealed wounds, has burdened my heart for far too long. One of my greatest regrets is not making the first move toward reconciliation, thinking time would somehow heal everything. I held on to pride, thinking they should apologize first. And by the time I realized how damaging that mindset was, it was too late. There are relationships in my life I wish I had fought harder for, not just for them, but for myself. My brother and I spent 8 years not speaking over a silly argument that no longer even mattered. He passed away suddenly from a heart attack at 79, and I never got the chance to tell him how much I loved him or how sorry I was. Those last words I never said, the phone call I didn't make, are regrets I'll carry with me for the rest of my life. Forgiveness isn't just for the other person. It's for you too. When you hold on to grudges, it's like carrying a heavy burden on your back. Every time you think of the person or situation that hurt you, you're lifting that weight again. It saps your energy, your joy, and your peace. And the longer you wait to forgive, the harder it gets. As you grow older, you start to realize how precious time is, and how little time you actually have left to mend broken relationships. If you don't forgive, you may never get the chance to make things right. The people you're holding grudges against, or the people who are holding grudges against you, won't be around forever. One day they may be gone, and you'll be left with the silent regret of things unsaid and reconciliation unmade. If you're holding on to something right now, if you're waiting for the perfect time to forgive, I want you to hear this: the time is now. You may not have tomorrow. Don't wait for the perfect apology or the perfect moment to make peace. The only perfect time to forgive is today, and you will feel lighter, freer, and at peace with yourself when you finally let go of that burden. Forgiveness isn't easy, but it's worth it. Not for them, but for you. Start today, before it's too late. When you're young, time seems endless. Every moment is a new adventure, and you feel like there's always more time to do everything you dream about. But as the years go by, you start to notice something strange. Time doesn't slow down, it accelerates. What once felt like a lifetime now feels like a blink of an eye. You wake up one morning, and suddenly, a decade has passed. You ask yourself, where did all the time go? And the truth is, it went by faster than you could grasp it. I remember being in my 30s and 40s, thinking I had all the time in the world to accomplish my goals, to build a career, to travel, to love, and to make memories. I told myself, I'll do it when I'm older, when I have more time. I pushed things off, assuming I could always go back to them. I thought my 50s and 60s would be when I'd slow down and truly enjoy life. But now, at 92, I see just how foolish that thinking was. Because the time you think you have doesn't exist, and it never will. One of the biggest shocks of growing older is realizing how fast time really moves. The years don't just slip by, they collapse into each other. The seasons feel like they blend together, and before you know it, a decade has passed. I've spent so much of my life waiting for the right moment to do something, telling myself that I could always do it later. But now, at my age, I can't help but wonder, what would have happened if I hadn't waited? What if I had acted sooner? What if I had stopped putting off the things that truly mattered? If you're in your 50s or 60s, hear me when I say this: you don't have as much time as you think. Your 60s might seem far away, but they're closer than you realize. And once you hit that age, you'll start noticing how fast time really accelerates. Don't wait for tomorrow or next year to live the life you want. Tomorrow doesn't come as easily as you think. You may think you can always catch up on what you missed. But the truth is you can't. The moment you've been waiting for to start living the life you dream of may never come, so why wait for it? Start today. Take those trips, make the calls, say the things you've been holding back, and take the risks you've been too afraid to take. Because one day, when you're older like me, you'll look back and realize you could have lived a much fuller life if only you hadn't waited for the perfect time. The biggest gift you can give yourself is the realization that time is the most precious thing you have, and it's slipping away faster than you think. So, ask yourself, what will you do with your time today? Don't wait until you're too late to make those decisions. The time is now.